Okay, year nine. I'm going to be putting, along with this video, up on Google Classroom a copy of my notes that I'm reading from here for you to go through and take a look. I haven't put it in the form of a graph because it's easier for me to write it out. The expository, which is going to be the most common that you're going to see, that's to inform and educate the audience. It's going to have clips with voiceovers going along with it. And that's what we see at the beginning. As he says, he establishes that it's a typical day in the United States of America. And we see the images. He establishes that this is a typical day. And on a typical day, he can go to a bank and get a gun. And this is where it moves into his interactive reflexive. All right. And he makes the comment about, what does it mean to be adjudicated mentally defective? He asked the rhetorical question, do you think it's a little dangerous to be handing out guns at a bank? This is the interactive reflexive that's going to imply that guns are far too accessible. From there, he goes into a lot of expository. Remember, the expository is to inform and to educate. All right, moving it back into the expository of clips of advertisements, home videos, movie clips, all of these with voiceovers. This establishes himself as a gun owner. Then he includes clips of a few hunters that shot themselves messing around with a gun, with a dog. All right, and I put in here, it's unclear if this is observational or if it's drama documentary. I think it's drama documentary. I do not think that the footage there is of the actual dog that shot the guy who's laying there. It could be, but if it were, I would think he would have identified it as actual footage. That's probably drama documentary. If you look in the absence of archive material, the filmmaker stages a dramatic reconstruction. Right? What is the effect of that drama documentary, that restaging it? To show not how funny it is that the person got shot by a dog, although that's funny. It's to show how dangerous guns are and how people don't treat them as though they're dangerous. From there, the clip of Chris Rock and talking about bullet control and how a bullet should cost $5,000. That's all expository, and that's what you're going to be using a lot of. But when he goes over to the military, he goes back over to some observational where the film crew is away and just showing what's going on. But it's mostly interactive reflexive. It shows how the gun culture is passed on to kids, and the little kid being raised in that environment. They pass themselves off as citizens, but they seem nuts to me. And this is followed immediately by more interactive reflexive with observational, where he meets with that Terry Nichols' brother. This links the pro-gun movement that you just saw with actual terrorists. Now, McNichols is presented as though he's crazy. He growls of a revolt with anger, a merciless anger, and there will be blood running in the streets. All right, then back over to expository, connecting this with the shooters at Columbine and the military connections with the town there. Then back to interactive reflexive. He interviews two local kids and talks about how they were looked into for bomb threats in the town, and one of them bragging because he didn't get to be number one on the bomb list. He goes back to McNichols. More interactive reflexive. This is where Nichols puts the gun to his head, and then he plays Beatles' Happiness is a Warm Gun. This is almost avant-garde. It really is. It seems like art to me. This montage that goes through of the Happiness is a Warm Gun. And I thought I had put it in my notes that all of this, oh no, that's in another part. So it goes advertisements, news reports of a blind man taking a shooting test, guys showing off their guns, murders, suicides, cops shooting people. All of this is expository, and it's all showing the unhealthy relationship that Americans have with guns. Then they go over to Littleton. That's where the Columbine shootings took place. Back to interactive reflexive. He's talking to a real estate agent. The real estate agent starts to cry. And he starts talking about how horrible the effects of the shooting were. Now, at this point in the notes also, this is how the documentary continues. using expository, interactive reflexive, and a little bit of observational. But I'm going to point out the other parts. I wish I would have gotten the timeline here, but I didn't put them down. Avant-garde would be the Louis Armstrong "What a Wonderful World" little video showing the United States' military involvement and all of that culminating like a neat little piece of artwork with the second plane hitting the World Trade Center and the girl screaming. Then there was the little cartoon, which is one of the coolest parts of the documentary. It's avant-garde, it's drama documentary, and it's part mockumentary. The cartoon is avant-garde because it's artistic. It's drama documentary because it's reenacting historical events that were not recorded. And it's a mockumentary in that it represents events that are fictional. Its main purpose, though, is to show that people think they're secure with their guns and that they will live happily ever after. And this moves into the mockumentary of Corporate Cops, where he makes a show saying we could make corporate cops like cops, only we could go out and arrest white-collar criminals. And because they're the people who should be arrested for ruining the skyline with polluting the environment and that type of thing. So those are the big modes. Those are the big techniques that are used in Bowling for Columbine. Compare them to your observations and consider how well you would be able to use those same modes for your own documentary. Give me any questions you have in email. I'm looking forward to you getting started on your documentaries.